So in this segment, we're going to be talking about Dominic Raab tying himself in knots, trying to defend Boris Johnson and partygate, which is particularly embarrassing from him.
Principle, if a minister lies to Parliament and fails to correct it, should they resign?
Yes. What Boris Johnson said to Parliament was not true, was it?
We're going to see Dominic Raab being absolutely dumbfounded by the kind of them bringing up a clip of him previously and saying, "This you," essentially. This is going to be crazy. Look, watch this.
The guidelines were not followed completely. Some say that is a breach of the ministerial code and therefore, according to your own words, should he go?
Sorry, is that your question to me now?
Yeah, I'm asking you.
No, we're asking Dominic Raab from the past what his thoughts are on this situation. Come on, dude.
No, sorry, I'm talking to you,
okay,
and we're hearing from you a few weeks ago. I know it's a slightly strange situation listening to yourself, but you were saying back then that
The other thing is, I don't get why they don't wear like headphones or earphones or like a proper earpiece. They can hear what's going on. You can hear it's over speaker, which is just dumb. Like, why are you doing this?
a minister who breaks the ministerial code, who lies to Parliament, should resign. We now know that what Boris Johnson said in Parliament, that all the guidelines had been followed completely, was not true. So the same question Sally asked you a few weeks ago. Therefore, should Boris Johnson resign?
Let's not forget Boris Johnson said there was no party and all this stuff here. All the guidelines were followed. And what they're arguing is Boris Johnson is so stupid or so unpopular that he's not being invited to parties within, his next door house, essentially. And, he claims he's working late and other things. He's claiming that he's not aware of what's happened within the house that he lived in, or at least, the house that he worked in, really.
Sorry, the Prime Minister was updating Parliament to the best of his knowledge and his understanding. Of course, there were.
They're gonna blame his staff for not informing him properly. That's the angle they're going for.
And that's very different. So if he's made if he said something which turned out not to be true, because we now know that there have been 20 fixed penalty notices. I mean, we accepted that there were all sorts of claims and allegations that needed to be independently investigated. That's why Sue Gray
and they have done. That's why they've handed out so many fines. We haven't seen the Sue Gray report, which is annoying. But if you're going to argue the Prime Minister wasn't aware of this stuff, you're going to find it very difficult. If Boris Johnson is fined, I don't think we'll ever know. Not at least until someone writes a book about it or laughs about it in like 5 or 10 years' time. But, the simple fact is, I'd be very surprised if he wasn't there. There were pictures as well, which, the Met Police aren't going to release, which is just sad, to be honest. Very, very sad. Purely because, the Met Police's job is to enforce the law, and they didn't. There's stories about £50 fines when, I think the minimum, I've never heard about £50 fines. I remember the minimum being around 200. So it's just ridiculous that they were fined £50, honestly.
Conducted the review. That's why the Met conducted their investigation. We embraced that. But I think it's something rather different to say that he lied, which suggests that he was deliberately misleading.
He's doing the kind of lawyerly thing of saying, oh, well, but he used the best information at his time. You can't say it was a lie, because a lie indicates intent to mislead, whereas Boris Johnson was himself misled by his own staff. That's the angle Dominic Raab is going for.
Since he said those words, we've seen pictures of him at some of these gatherings. He knew he was there.
Sorry, you're conflating all sorts of things. And first of all, the PM has not to date been issued with a fixed penalty notice, and you're making sort of assertions that he was at parties where in relation to.
That's true. It is an assertion until we know for a fact he was there, but I believe he was there.
Photos, which I don't think demonstrate that. The point you asked me was about the ministerial code. I think it's one thing. Clearly, we had the investigations because of the claims and the assertions that were made, which were right to follow up, and it's clear there have been breaches of the law. But to jump from that to saying that the Prime Minister deliberately misled Parliament rather than answering to the best of his ability, I'm afraid it's just not right.
What does it say?
If Boris Johnson was at those parties, then he knowingly misled the parties. If he knew of those parties, he knowingly misled the House. And even if the opposition and the police actually prove that, can you imagine Boris Johnson resigning over it? No chance. This man he's the Teflon Don. Nothing sticks. You can't beat him. Honestly, he's just. He's like a boss fight where you can hit him 100 times, he still doesn't die. That's what it feels like anyways. But anyways, let me know what you think in the comments below. Like, comment, share, subscribe, support the channel on Patreon if you can. And Dominic Raab's performance here isn't actually that bad. He's gone for more of the lawyerly approach of you have to prove intent of the lie. But I'll see you next time.